Hi guys, so just a little Jetstar update for y'all on my last vlog. If you were watching, hopefully you were. There's two vlogs on the Grace Hotel in Sydney, and the second one's labeled Jetstar and Grace Hotel vlog 2. Because I was only supposed to be at the Grace for one night, and then Jetstar canceled my flight. So if you haven't, feel free to watch them, and then hopefully you'll be all caught up for this one. So, Jetstar, oh, you can't see that was an eye roll under my sunglasses there. Jetstar canceled my flight that I was supposed to go from Sydney to Brisbane on New Year's Day. They canceled it and rebooked me on one for the afternoon/evening of January 2nd to Brisbane. So luckily, the Grace Hotel that I was staying in the night before had a room available that I could stay the night that my flight got canceled as well. So then, January 2nd, I was super concerned that my flight would get canceled again, but thankfully it did not, and everything went kind of okay. I got to the airport and they weighed my suitcases like they normally do when you check bags. But I had already, because I had just came off of like a bunch of flights to get to Sydney, I already knew that it weighed 25.8 kilos, so I paid for 30 kilos worth of luggage, so that was fine. But then they weighed my carry-on bags. I've literally never had anybody ever weigh carry-on bags ever, and I've been traveling for 25 years. But like on the website it says that your carry-on bags have to weigh 7 kilos, so I thought they meant your carry-on bag and your personal item had to weigh 7 kilos each. No, together. They're supposed to together weigh 7 kilos, which I don't really understand because you're carrying them yourself. Like, as long as they fit in that little square thing that like all the airlines say, oh, if it fits in here it's a carry-on, if it doesn't you have to check it. That should be the most amount of like weighing that they do. But no, they weigh them both together, and if they weigh more than 7 kilos you have to pay. And my carry-on suitcase was 9 kilos, and then my laptop bag, because I have a 24-inch laptop, my laptop bag was 8.6 kilos. So I had to pay $50 to carry them on, and I was kind of mad. I was like, well, I wonder if it would have been cheaper if I just checked them. Anyways, and I had extra room in my check bag, but she said that it like wasn't enough for me to just take stuff out of my carry-on to put it in there because it would still be overweight, and that like the price wouldn't have been any cheaper. That was annoying. But then when you get to Brisbane, and well, first we're waiting at the gate, right, to board, and this family next to me, half of their family, well, their whole family got canceled from the flight I was supposed to be on, but half of their family got to go on an earlier flight that morning, and so they were already in Brisbane. But they said that when they landed in Brisbane, 50 people on that plane, their suitcases didn't show up and they were stuck in Sydney, so they had to come back to the Brisbane airport to get their suitcases when our flight came in, because our flight was carrying 50 of their bags. I was like, oh man, that sounds rough. Glad that's not me. And then we get to Brisbane, and because they had 50 bags from the earlier flight, they, I guess, didn't have room for our stuff then. So 50 of our bags also got left, and mine was the lucky bag that got left. So I got left in Brisbane, and they said that it wasn't just Jetstar, that it was Sydney Airport was having conveyor belt issues, but Qantas and Virgin didn't have those issues. So yeah, my bag didn't make it from Sydney to Brisbane, and so they said that if you fill out this form, they would, when it did come in, they would send it to your accommodation. And I was like, well, I get on my flight to Cairns at literally 6 a.m. in like less than 12 hours. So what are you gonna do for me? So they said that they would send it from Sydney straight to Cairns, and then I could just pick it up when I get to Cairns. and I like watched him put it in the computer and everything. I made sure he did what he was supposed to, and he was like, I'm gonna give you this like lost luggage paper anyway, but you just watch me put it in, like it's in the system. And I was like, cool, thanks, that makes my life easier, because then I don't have to worry about dragging it around here anyways. So then the next morning I go for my flight to Cairns, and I'm like super scared they're gonna weigh my carry-ons again. So I just left the like, I paid for this heavy bag tag on my suitcases, and I was like, oh, I hope they don't know these are like a day old. And they weighed the people's like carry-ons at the gate next to mine, but they never even weighed anybody on my flights. So I was the only one that I paid extra for these bag tags. So I don't know how they determine like which flights they're gonna weigh and which flights they just don't care about. Okay, whatever. And this flight, they like upgraded me to the emergency exit row again, so it has the extra leg room, the second row, so it still reclines. And then they had me in the first emergency exit row, but then when she was checking me in, she's like, oh, we're gonna move you to the back emergency exit row because we have to have at least 2 people per row. And I was like, sweet, that means there's nobody in the middle. And like obviously they could have still like edited to add someone, but they didn't. So I had like all this room and nobody in the middle, and it was nice. And I was like, I'm so glad that I carried on my bag so that it didn't get lost as well. But like, this is nice. Jetstar is not that bad, except for, you know, canceling flights and suitcases and everything. So then I get to Cairns, and I just go straight for the luggage support desk because I know that it's not going to be on my flight from Brisbane to Cairns, for it's coming straight from Sydney. So I get there and I'm like, hi, like my suitcase was supposed to be coming from Sydney. I just came in from Brisbane. They forgot it yesterday, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, Tasha, I literally just emailed you. I was like, oh, sorry, I haven't checked my email yet. She was like, no worries, your flight's coming on the 1:30 from Sydney, and we'll drop it off straight at your accommodation. And I was like, that sounds fabulous. Thank you so much. And so then I leave. Well, I don't really leave because I have nowhere to go because I can't check into my Airbnb until 2, I think, and it's only like 9 a.m. But anyway, so I just like sit there for a while until I decide to go to the mall to work on the free Wi-Fi on my computer because the grind never stops. We own a mermaid company. Follow my mermaid YouTube if you don't already. It's at Mermaid Tasha. Thanks. Anyways, so I was like, that's super easy. Great, thanks. So when I get to the mall and I get on my computer, I don't have an email from her. So I don't know if she like spelled it wrong or didn't email me, or I don't know, whatever. I didn't have an email from her, and then she said that my bag would be on the 1:30 flight, so I'd have it by like 2 when I checked in. So she's like, perfect timing, because that's when your bag will get there. And I was like, great, thanks. So I get here, and I'm here until like 2:30, and then I had to go to my dive physical, and I get back from my dive physical at like 4:30ish, and my bag still isn't here. And I wait until 5:30, and then my bag still isn't here. And I don't know if I waited until 6:30 or if I started calling at 5:30 and gave up by 6:30. But anyways, so it still wasn't there. So I started calling the number on the paper that the guy in Brisbane gave me, and the number isn't working. I call on my computer's like computer calling. I call on my cell phone. I call on literally everything that I can call on, and it's just like not working. And I go on their like Jetstar page, and my bag tag number wasn't like in the system because it wasn't, I don't know, but like when you like lose a bag, they like change your bag tag number to, instead of being just numbers, they include like letters before it. And so mine didn't have any letters, so they like wouldn't accept it. So then I filled out 3 more like file a claim for lost baggage stuff because it just kept like not going through and not telling me that they had it and everything, and I'm still waiting on emails, and I still never got any emails, and it was just so frustrating. So then finally I just gave up, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to the airport in the morning, and if my bag showed up at the 1:30 Sydney flight, then it should just be at the luggage where it was supposed to be when I first got to Cairns anyway. Okay, cool. I was just making sure we're still recording because I recorded a lot yesterday, so I didn't want to run out of space. Anyways, so in the morning I get there and they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. What does your bag look like? And so I told them that it's like a black soft-sided suitcase with Cressy printed all over it. And she like checks and she's like, it's not here. And then she like checks in the system and she's like, it's not here. And then she checks in the delivery log and she's like, it's not here. And then she's like, I don't know what to tell you because it's not in our system. You can just leave now. Excuse me, what? She was like, I'll have to research it and it'll take a few days. What? So what are next steps? There are no next steps. You leave and I research. And oh, okay, bye, I guess. Like, what the heck? And all my friends were like, oh, you should have like went off on her. You should have cussed at her, blah blah. Like, what good is that gonna do? My bag isn't there. Like, anyways, so that was upsetting. So then I was like, well, this lady yesterday said she emailed me and I never got an email. So let me re-give you my email because I don't know if she spelled something wrong or what, and my phone isn't working. So then I gave her my actual email, which is a good thing I did because we'll get there. Anyway, so she's like, oh, it's going to take a few days. I have to research this. It's like, okay. So I was like really upset because all of my dive stuff was in there, and the next day I had to start my dive trial, and dive gear is really expensive, guys. Like literally thousands of dollars between the actual dive gear, the GoPro camera gear, the bag, like the clothes in it, the wetsuits, like, which normally I have the travel size, like BCD and everything, so that I can just put in my carry-on, and normally that's how I carry it, but because I had so many like day stop layovers, I had like my clothes and stuff in my carry-on so that I could, you know, change and everything. But on the way back, dive stuff is definitely going in the carry-on, as it should have been all along. But anyways, also all those are cicadas. It's like always cicada season here. Anyway, so yeah, I went straight from the airport to the mall to buy stuff that I knew that I needed for my dive trial the next day, which like all the actual dive gear they would have on the boat, but I still needed closed-toed boat shoes. I still needed like t-shirts because even though like I have suitcases clothes in my carry-on, I don't wear like pants and shorts. I wear dresses, so I had the bottoms. I had like the pants and the shorts, but I didn't have any shirts. I just had bathing suits and dresses. So I had to buy those, and then I also had to buy pajamas because, yeah, I didn't have any pajamas. So I went to the mall and I bought all that, and then I was in the Uber on the way back, and I got an email from Jetstar saying that they found my suitcase and that it was being delivered, like, as we speak. And I was like, I'm literally in the Uber now. Like, I will be there in 5 minutes. Like, please have them wait. So I pulled up and the suitcase people were just sitting there waiting for me, and they were like, is this yours? And I was like, yes, thank you. And it was great because I got all my stuff and I checked to make sure nothing was stolen. People were like, make sure you check, so I did. Nothing was stolen, everything was fine. So I got my suitcase back and they brought it straight to the accommodation, and that was all great, but like it was stressful. And like when Jetstar is good, they're like really good. Like they brought it to the accommodation. I didn't have to go back to the airport a third time. They always like upgrade me. It's better, like more space seats. Like the actual flights aren't bad, but when they're bad, like with the luggage and the canceling flights and the charging for carry-ons, like the good is good, but I don't think it outweighs the risk. So yeah, I've learned my lesson. I will not be taking Jetstar again. But if you only have carry-ons and you don't mind if you get there like a few days later than you planned, then go for it. Jetstar is not that bad then. But yeah. And like I said, when I went to uni in Auckland, I like knew to never take Jetstar. And then this time I was just so, oh, they're so cheap. Listen to your gut, don't take Jetstar. Anyways, have you guys had any Jetstar experiences? If so, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!